The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Gracious and most holy God, we thank you for every opportunity we have to encounter you in the world around us. And in this wonderful and blessed and holy place, we thank you for the opportunities that we have had in the year past to encounter your hands at work in the world around us, in each other, in the expected places, and in the unexpected places. Please help us enter this new program year with eyes wide open, with hearts and arms wide open, ready to embrace you and embrace the experience of you everywhere we have that possibility. In your Son, Jesus Christ's most holy name, we pray. Amen. So this time last year, I made a joke that I had now done a Rector's Forum right before the start of the program year twice. I did it in 2017 and I did it in 2018. And last year I said if I did it again in 2019, that would mean 3 times. And in the Episcopal Church, that means it's a tradition. And so now we are locked into this forum for the rest of our natural lives. As it has been in the last 2 years, and now this for the third one, this is not a comprehensive state of the parish address. We do that at the annual meeting each year, and different program areas have the opportunity to update on what has gone on and what will happen. And these are some observations of the year before. These are my observations of the year before and the year that we have to come. So this is sort of one part review and one part planning, and then we'll hopefully, if I don't talk too much, we'll have time for some questions at the end. So this is not comprehensive. This is not every dot and tittle of what has happened in the last year, nor is it every single plan we have for the year to come. So do gather up your questions, and when we get to the end, hopefully we'll have time to answer I will have time to answer anything that you didn't hear me say in other parts. So I want to start by talking about staff. For the first time since I started here 3 years ago, I've been here 3 years, y'all. I know. Our staff has been stable for 12 whole months. Everyone currently here has been here for a year or more. We have one staff member who will have her first anniversary next week, so, short 1 week. But because of that stability, because it's reasonably predictable who's coming to work tomorrow, it's been much easier to do some of the practical things about getting our staff records up to date, making sure that everyone has all of our necessary certifications and background checks and everything, getting all of our staff ducks in a row. And I'm happy to say that we are just about there. We just about have all of our staffing records updated, which is great. More importantly than that, we're a happy crew. We are leaning on and leaning into each other for professional and spiritual and emotional support in all the best, most appropriate ways. We are together coming up with creative ideas. We're working to make sure that our workplace is open and honest and supportive and kind. And because of this improved workplace environment, we are also more efficient. We're more accurate. We're more able to fulfill the tasks and the goals that we have as a staff in front of us. And so, because we have 12 months of stability, instead of reporting on transitions, people going in and out this year, I'm going to report on 2 milestones that are wonderful and exciting. Melanie Gray has been growing and expanding the ways that we care for the least and the lost and the lonely here at Christ Church for 5 years. This is her 5th anniversary. As always, if you see her, please congratulate her on surviving with us for 5 years, but also on the excellent and truly God-centered work that she does. The connection she makes across congregations and agencies and different communities of people helps to expand our reach and our circle of caring here at Christ Church in Alexandria and even across the world. I am so grateful to her. Many of you know that our office doors are right across from each other, so we find ourselves back and forth in each other's offices, and that connectivity and that commitment are important to me, and I'm grateful to her. Jason Abel, as you know, is back from a 4-month sabbatical. We are all on staff grateful to have him back, as I know the choir is, and I know that anyone who ever goes to worship is grateful to have Jason back. And I am looking forward not only to hearing him play every week, but also to hearing more about how his time of rest and study and adventures have increased his already vast knowledge and love of music. It's so good to have Jason back among us. And the sabbatical, of course, was well-deserved. He's already planning his next one. But in our facilities, 2018, last year, was a difficult year for our facilities, the buildings themselves. We were trying to recover from some issues that we had created by some needed deferred maintenance. We needed to defer it, and then we needed to get on top of it. And I'm pleased to say that in 2019, we have been getting ahead. Our buildings are dry inside when it rains. On the bottom, on the top, the walls, we are dry. Now, knock on something, right? Because you never know. But currently, our buildings are dry inside. Director of Facilities Puyan Magdadian and the Properties Committee have also facilitated a number of other projects, including improved drainage in the churchyard so that now the water goes away from the historic church. Who would have thought that that would need fixing? But instead of towards it. They spruced up the bathrooms on 2 floors of the parish houses. Apparently, before I arrived, the bathrooms right next to the chapel right here, the men's bathroom had been all fixed and made lovely. They hadn't done the women's bathroom. Hello. So we did that. And we fixed up the bathrooms down near the AA rooms that had just needed general sprucing, painting, fixing holes, fixing chipped tile, and they made that happen. We replaced the drain on our sacristy piscina, which seems like such a tiny little project, but our chancel chapter is thrilled, and if the chancel chapter's happy, y'all, everyone's happy. That means that they don't have to leave the building to pour out some of our consecrated elements, and it's a lovely thing and a much easier fix than we anticipated. There's a constant bob and weave of maintaining the HVAC balance in our buildings because every building has its own microclimate, and so Puyan has been working with both our maintenance, the on-site maintenance people, the HVAC maintenance people, our control folks, to make sure that each building has what it needs to be comfortable and safe and and maintained, because the quality of the air is also important to building maintenance. I hope that you have also already seen and heard about the new pew cushions, which are coming in. They're coming in a few at a time, and I joked last week that we're starting from the front of the church to make sure they last longer because nobody sits on them up there. And they're coming, I think I heard last week, I haven't looked, but I heard last week that we're about halfway back at this point. Due to some wonderful work by a subcommittee of our buildings and grounds, of our properties committee, we were able to get a pew cushion maker who's given us a great discount on the fabric, good, solid quality fabric that's going to last another 40 years, I guess. But we were past time to replace those cushions, and so we're really glad. We actually had a tourist a couple of weeks ago that asked if the cushions were original to the church. No, they're not. But well, I know, right? I think I said no, but they're older than I am. So that's good. Our Properties Committee has also been researching the reinforcement of the balcony in anticipation of receiving the new organ. As you know, removal of the current organ is slated to begin in January of 2020. That's not very long from now. Jason has already been planning new music to wow us even in our organ's absence, including a temporary electric organ on Easter, guest musicians of different stripes for some of our other big occasions. I hear there's a tambourine band coming. I'm just kidding. I can't even get through that sentence with a straight face. All different musicians coming to play different kinds of music in the church when we do not have an organ. We are planning and hoping to have the new Bromley organ built by Harrison & Harrison of England in place for Christmas of 2020. I got that right, Christmas of 2020. So we'll be out an organ for a little less than a year. As you've already, I hope, already heard by now, the Bromley organ, the initial gift of which was given by Marilyn and Cap Bromley, has had a second gift pledged that will fully fund the organ and the reinforcement of the balcony. I continue, and I know as a parish we continue to be grateful to our anonymous donor as we are grateful to the Bromleys for their faithful generosity and their investment in the future beauty of our parish. Fowler House. This is why you came, I know. You've undoubtedly heard, if you keep up with our parish communications, that our negotiations with the developer Streetscape to develop the property right next door that currently houses the Ross Department Store and the Fowler House Children's Ministry Center have fallen through. Those negotiations have come to an end. It is a disappointing bump in the road. We had gone through all of the necessary processes and channels to move forward with this new development. We were starting to make our own plans on how we would move in and out of that building and redevelop our own spaces. And so we're disappointed that that is not going to happen. But we learned a lot about our own property, the properties that we have here in the parish house, both parish houses. And we're going to use our new knowledge both to update the facilities that we have and also proceed through future conversations with new possible partners in development of that space. We're just working on finding who they are. The Fowler House committees, there are several, are working through various other possibilities to see what direction we're going to head into next. And we will continue to update the parish via email and through Rejoice as often as we have something to update. I've even nudged our communications branch of the Fowler House committees to update the parish even when we don't have an update, to say, all's holding steady, we'll let you know when there's news. So if this is news to you, it makes me think that maybe you are not getting our parish communications, and let's get that rectified. I want to make sure that everyone has access to all of the information that's going out about Fowler House, but about everything else as well. Thank you for your continued prayers and support in this process. Land use negotiations are deeply complicated. I did not learn that in seminary, but I'm learning it now. And I'm grateful to the people that are helping me learn it with patience and kindness, particularly the various members of the committee and the heads of the various committees. Chris McMurray, Jim Coakley, and John Weaver continue to keep me buoyant and laughing and trusting in the process. Anne Reed keeps me some days from sticking my head in an oven. John Gray is doing a wonderful job with the leading the long-term space planning committee. Russ Hames and his committee for the short-term interim planning did a fantastic job finding where we might put all of our little ministries, our big ministries, when we had reduced space for a limited amount of time. And we will likely still need that information. Bob Cady and his committee for coming up with a contingency plan should the development plan fall through. Turns out we needed them after all. And those committee members on each one of those committees who have waded through piles of information and opinions and histories and parish needs in order to serve our parish with integrity and creativity and good humor. I'm grateful to all of them, as I know we all are. Watch this space. There are exciting things still to come. Capital campaign. I mentioned this last year. We have a small group that is charged with identifying a consultant to help us execute an upcoming capital campaign. And they report that they've narrowed the field down to just a few candidates, 2 candidates, I believe, and they're going to be having in-person interviews coming in the next couple of weeks. They've been impressed with all of the companies they've interviewed, a wide range of companies that offer lots of different services to a parish. All the companies are excellent. Any one that we choose will work closely with the parish to shape the campaign and also help us talk about strategizing for the future of the parish. It's good and exciting stuff to talk to these capital campaign companies because they have a lot of excitement and energy, not just for raising money, but for looking at how a parish can be served for years and years ahead. So again, watch this space. Work is happening. I'm hoping that soon we will be able to announce a company, and then sooner even after that to kick off a capital campaign. Stewardship. In the next few weeks, you're going to see our annual campaign kick off. It's going to open, but we're going to have a slightly different feeling about it. And it's a feeling that I and the Stewardship Committee hope will begin to infuse itself into the parish so that it becomes part of the way we breathe. The Stewardship Committee is the driving force this year behind our new and expanded Welcome Sunday, taking something that we already do beautifully and building on it. Welcome Sunday, as you know, is in 2 weeks, hot dog bar. And it's going to help us all embrace and remember that Christ's church, is a place for everyone, that we are open and welcoming, and we're not just welcoming each other back from vacation. We haven't seen each other since Easter. Just kidding, we've been here. I've been here. But we're welcoming everyone in our city. We're welcoming people from ministries all over the world, from people in our community, from people from other church communities, to understand more who we are, what we do, what we have to offer, and what we love to give. It's an opportunity to remind each other and our whole city that Christ Church hasn't lasted as an active community for 246 years by keeping our gates and our hearts closed, but by being outward facing with our gates and our doors and our hearts wide open. And that, and only that, is how we're going to continue to not just sort of survive and limp along, but thrive and be this beautiful manifestation of God's world here in the heart of Alexandria. So that's Welcome Sunday. Bring a friend. It's going to be pretty great. It's a great opportunity to show the people you love outside of Christ Church, the people and places you love inside Christ Church. Y'all come. The Stewardship Committee wants to be a part of the congregation's remembering this and wants to see it translate Welcome Sunday, help begin the process of translating into acts of gratitude for our parish, for all that it does, and all that we could do with the gifts that are released for ministry. So we're trying this new way of talking about stewardship this year. This year, in the stewardship campaign, we are not talking about financial goals. We don't have pie charts this year. I know. We are not going to be talking about how much money we need to make our budget. Our financial statements are going to continue to be available quarterly. We are open and honest about the money that we have and the money that we need in that respect. We'll put out an annual financial report at our next annual meeting to show that we are good stewards of what we have. But this year, the Stewardship Committee and I are asking you to not give based on the church's need, but to give based on your own gratitude. It's a hard mental transition to make. We want to give in order to fill a hole. Instead, we're going to give because we believe in the mission and ministry and work of God in this place. So I want you to pledge this year at the end of 2019 for the 2020 year. I want you to pledge out of a sense of gratitude for everything God has released in your life, rather than a sense of shame or a sense of need or a sense of worry for the ways that our parish is falling short. In order to make this work, we all need to be all in. Every single member of Christ Church needs to make a promise for 2020 to give to the work of God out of profound, gratitude for this parish and for God's abundance in the world. My heart tells me, and sometimes it fights with my brain on this, my heart tells me that if we really start this new practice, if we really do all decide to embrace it, and maybe that'll take a couple of years, but if we really do start to embrace it, giving from a place of abundance and of thanksgiving rather than scarcity and hole filling and gap closing, we will learn more about who we really are and what we can really do. It will be a new time of self-definition for the parish when it comes to stewardship. It's really exciting for this girl. Really, really exciting. And I hope it's exciting for you as well. But it will mean a shift in the way that we think about what we give. So flipping that coin, finance. Deciding that we are going to give out of a sense of abundance and out of a sense of gratitude does not mean that talking about money in general is shameful or wrong. It doesn't mean that we're going to stop reporting on our parish finances. God releases resources for us, through us, that are intended to be used with faith and with good stewardship. Stephanie Woodland Kelly, our controller, Ken Knapp, our treasurer, and I will continue to report out on the financial picture of the parish quarterly. If you're interested in the financial statement, it comes into your email inbox every month. We know, because we get reports on the number of people, not the who, but how many people open those financial statements. We know that it is very, very few people. And that's fine. If you're not interested in the parish's financial picture, fine with me. But know that that information is available to you. And if for some reason you feel like you didn't get it, or you got it and can't find it and would like to see it again, email Stephanie. She can always send it out to you. It's nice and succinctly done, thanks to Ken Knapp. In sum, the current financial picture looks a little like this. We're okay. Not great, but okay. We have enough money to continue in the basics of ministry. We will keep the doors open. We will keep the buildings heated and cooled. We will keep worshiping. We'll keep learning. We'll keep the staff paid at the minimum level that they're currently being paid. As you already know, if you've been following the financial reports, we are running a deficit right now. It is not a panic-worthy deficit, not for me, maybe for Ken, but not a panic-worthy deficit for me. But we are running a deficit. If we continue to run a deficit year after year, we're going to have to make some hard decisions. Not really about what we will cut, who we will cut, how we will cut in order to balance the budget. Those will be part of the decisions. But a deficit year over year, year after year, tells us that we need to make hard decisions about who we want to be as a parish. Because that means that, thinking back to what I just said about stewardship, that the way that we are investing, that the gratitude that we are giving to Christ Church is not enough to run the parish that we think it ought to be. So we need to figure out how to run the parish that we are, the parish that we are grateful for, at the levels that we are grateful for it. When our members look at their parish and their financial capabilities and give based on gratitude, and we still can't raise enough money to be this booming, thriving, big creative place, we need to change our tactic. We need to refocus ourselves on God and then see what happens going from there. But we will have to make a change. That's not a threat. It's actually a new way of thinking about who we are financially, instead of just continuing to beat our heads against the same brick wall. If we need to cover a deficit at the end of this year with our savings, we will. We'll be fine. We'll make it happen. Our parish will not be in debt, but we will have a loss. Every year, as a reminder, our practical expenses, utilities, taxes, insurance, those things all increase, just like they do in our own households, while our giving is staying flat. Now, in the wider church, giving being flat is actually a pretty great thing. Giving around the church, around the national church, giving is going down. So that giving is flat here at Christ Church. It's actually not bad. But our expenses are going up. So we need to figure out how we are going to revision either the way we give or who we are in order that those two things can match up. Unlike some of our brothers and sisters around the country, we're in no danger of closing anytime soon. That's not something that we have to worry about. The wolf is not at the door. We have too many wonderful, generous people invested in making sure that we make it. Those people are here in this room. I see all of you, as a matter of fact. We need to learn how to give flagrantly, gratefully, thankfully, in accordance with what God has released for us. It is hard work. We've got this. We know how to do it. We just need to do it boldly. So that is stewardship and finance. It's not all grim. It's hard, but it's not grim. So, moving on to something less grim. Hard. Formation. You see me every year stand up and get so super excited about formation. I get excited about formation. That's who I am. Our Formation for All Ages programming that has been led by Lyndon and Selden and Ariel Rudy is exciting and booming and wonderful. Ariel, with 1 whole year as Director of Children's Ministries now under her belt, she is on vacation today, but she is observing and refining and creating new curricula for our kids, all while she is building relationship with and between parents, with and between our kids, with and between our teachers. You will hear me use the word relationship a lot in the next few minutes because relationships are where the meat of formation is happening, I am seeing. And it's really, really cool to watch. Vacation Bible School was a wonderful success this year. With 40 kids in attendance, Ariel created the whole thing on her own from scratch, and she learned a lot. And she did it all with a great sense of humor and a little bit of panic, and then some more humor to cover the panic. It was wonderful to be near and be around. Ariel and I are looking at how we might introduce our kindergartners to the practice of receiving the Holy Eucharist in kind of a thoughtful and more formal way than we have done in the past. Something like a Eucharist class that they have at the beginning of every kindergarten year that parents can rely on to know that there is some instruction for Eucharist. It's not the Roman Catholic Catechism of First Eucharist, First Communion, but harkens to that idea that at a certain point our kids are old enough to learn about this holy mystery, and it's our job as a community to teach them. It's our honor as a community to teach them. So Ariel and I are looking for a way to do that. Further down the road, in the next program year, Ariel is looking at new ways of engaging our 4th and 5th graders, understanding that they are probably in a slightly different developmental place than our 1st through 3rd graders, and they may need a different curriculum to help keep them engaged and excited and coming so that they continue to build those relationships, there it is, that will challenge them and will keep them going. Speaking of relationships, Selden is working on building relationships within our middle and high school students. We all know from our own experience, we know from other churches around Christendom, we know from this parish itself, that the way to get our wonderful and engaged teenagers to come and keep coming back is that they come to see and be with their friends. And we accidentally give them some Jesus while they're here. But if they're coming to see over and over again the people that they love, us adults kind of, but really the other teenagers in this place, they'll keep coming back. They won't fight quite as hard on Sunday mornings. And so Selden's working on that. What does it look like to build these relationships between our middle schoolers? Build these relationships, sustainable relationships between our high schoolers. These kids, you know this, they are living busy, pressure-filled, active, complicated lives. And so we're figuring out practically how we draw our kids in, these teenagers, without being one more responsibility on their calendar. It's not an easy question to answer. Our kids are doing a phenomenal job being honest about their experiences, showing up to try new things and new ways of being. This year we had a wonderful This I Believe dinner for our confirmation class. It's something Christ Church has been doing for a few years, where each one of our incoming confirmands, a week or so before their confirmation, stands right here and gives a statement of belief, their own statement of belief based on what they've learned in the previous year and then in their many previous years of coming to Sunday school. It is a beautiful and powerful evening of hearing these young people talk about who they are as growing people of faith. It's something that this parish needs to be very proud of. And every kid that is I think every kid that's currently in high school that got confirmed at Christ Church went through that process. And we should be very proud of them for the hard work that they did. Selden planned and executed a fantastic mission trip to Asheville this summer, and really did, with a small group, capitalize on that idea of growing relationships. He did a beautiful job. They had a great time. The photographs are excellent. Finally, for us here, adults, Lyndon has been expanding the thematic offerings in adult formation. In one way he's doing that I hope everyone will work on taking advantage of. He's been offering classes in online classrooms. It's really cool. The new use of technology, it's not scary. It's not scary. If you have a desktop computer, actually if you have a phone, you can participate in these. It allows for our brothers and sisters that maybe live farther out and can't get here on a weeknight, or maybe you have small children at home and a babysitter every week is too much, or maybe leaving the house is difficult for you for any number of reasons, or maybe the end of the day you are done. Whatever it is, you can come and take part in both the community and the learning in one of these online classrooms. I encourage you, next time you see one of these advertised in the bulletin, try it out. Try it out. I mean, the very worst that can happen is you can't figure it out and it makes you frustrated. But it's actually, the platform that they're using is not very difficult. We can help provide some technical support. I can't provide technical support. Somebody can help provide technical support. But you'll be doing yourself a favor if you join in one of these. It's a really cool thing that Lyndon has brought into our community, and we're looking to kind of expand on it as a way of using technology to work for us, not something that we fight against as an evil necessity. Lyndon's also been looking at ways of continuing on this really cool, strong tradition we have of men's small groups, especially starting a new group coming up, we hope, of men who are early in their careers and marriages and early in parenthood, so that they can begin their own journey together in the ways that some of our men's groups are currently doing and started these journeys together years ago. It's good to continue in that pattern. I am continuing in the idea of formation. I'm going to be working with parishioner Liz Nelson to create another pilgrimage for summer 2020. I don't know where yet, and I don't know when, but we're talking about it. And I'm hoping to continue to build the pilgrimage experience to be more expansive for the community, so that we have opportunities for families. We have opportunities for maybe some of our teenagers. We have opportunities that are local. If you don't travel, you don't want to travel, can't afford to travel, how can we do spiritual journeys here closer in? That's a long process of building, but keep an eye out, because the pilgrimage that some of us took last year was powerful and meaningful, and I want to be able to share that with more of us. We had a limited number women's retreat last year in Lent, or this year actually in Lent, 2019 Lent, and we had such a wonderful experience that we're going to be offering another women's retreat at the Claggett Center in Lent, and there will be more spots. We're going to have 20 spots available, so more women will be able to take part in that experience as well. That will be happening in Lent. Both the pilgrimage and the Lenten retreat will be on advert in January. So keep looking. Finally, the last little piece I have to look forward to in coming years, thanks to Russ Randall, we have officially extended an invitation to Bishop Michael Curry, Presiding Bishop Michael Curry, to join us in our 250th year, to come join us for the celebrations that we will be having in that year, and we look forward to welcoming him here. Russ is a fantastic conduit for all kinds of information going both directions, and he jumped right on the opportunity to communicate with the presiding bishop's office. And Russ Randall is one of those people that I dare you to say no to. So I'm pretty sure Michael Curry is going to think the same thing. So I look forward to having him here with us. Okay, this concludes my official remarks. We have about 10 minutes. What questions do we have for me? Yes?
I just have a commercial for online spiritual formation. I work teaching online, so I sort of have a little bit of familiarity. But I did do the group that Lynn is doing now, so far just once, with my iPhone, which I just got a new one. And we meet in a platform called Zoom. And Zoom, you can get the app for Zoom, anybody can. And it works like a charm. He sends you the link, you go to the link, and there it is. You can see people and hear people. It isn't scary at all.
Thank you.
You said that the notices for the pilgrimage and the Lenten retreat and all that would be on advert. What is that?
Advertise. I will advertise them.
Oh, okay.
That was me trying to be.
Something special.
No, I was trying to be all wordy and cute. It didn't. Sometimes an English major fails. Other questions? Really? I'm getting off easy again this year. Okay, yeah.
I'm familiar with capital campaigns for buildings or that sort of. What is the purpose of the capital campaign?
That's a great question. So I'm hesitant to announce anything specific because we're going to work with the capital campaign consultants to make sure that we're announcing the right. So we're sort of like we've built the capital campaign to bring in the right money for the right things. But the number one thing I believe that it'll be for is these parish houses here. I call them the parish houses. One of them is the parish house, one is the memorial parish house. But this railroad of buildings right here, they need to be done. They need, regardless of what we decide is to be done with them based on what happens with the Fowler House property, these buildings are going to need major rehabilitation. Most of us spend the majority of our time in this room or in the auditorium, which are two beautiful rooms that are in great shape. We have full areas of our buildings that have been mothballed and are kind of decaying, despite Puyan and the Properties Committee's really good work making sure that they're not actually decaying and causing harm. They're not spaces that anyone wants to be in. We have a wealth of space in these two buildings. And they're underutilized, and we can not only do better, but we can take care of our properties better if they are exciting and used and to their potential. So that's going to be one big piece of it. It's going to be very important to me that we do something like tithe our capital campaign to make sure that we're giving, again, from the abundance that we bring in, we're giving it away to do what churches are called to do in the world, to take care of the least and the lost and the lonely. I don't know what that specific tithe will go to, but it will be something that we draw in and we give away. So that'll be a piece of it too. I'm not sure what else, but those are the two things that are at the forefront. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you, friends. Thank you for 3 pretty fantastic years.